So I want you to imagine for a second that it's 1945, right?
Yeah, okay.
Modern science splits the physical atom.
Um,
And obviously that changed the world forever. The raw, terrifying power that was just hidden inside microscopic matter was suddenly out in the open.
yeah, it completely redefined what power meant.
Exactly. But we're looking at this ancient text today called the Gayatri Mahavigyan, and it makes this wild claim. It basically says we were actually beaten to the punch centuries ago,
Right.
not with physical atoms, but with the spiritual atom. And it's located, according to this, exactly at the base of your spine.
It's crazy to think about.
I mean, the text argues that sitting right there inside you, like literally as you listen to this deep dive right now, is a dormant atomic reactor.
Mm.
And it's capable of unleashing unbelievable potential if you only knew the password to turn it on.
Yeah, and it really just completely flips our understanding of human biology, you know?
Right.
Because we treat our bodies as these like fragile mechanical vessels, we're completely unaware of the sheer magnitude of the energetic architecture that might just be hidden beneath the surface of our own nervous system.
So in today's deep dive, we are exploring this whole concept of ancient spiritual anatomy.
Mm-hmm.
We're pulling from excerpts and these really intricate diagrams within the Gayatri Mahavigyan to decode this idea of Marmosvan.
Right, the vital power centers.
Exactly, these hidden power centers in the human body.
Yeah.
And our goal here is to take these massive mystical claims and try to translate them into a mechanical framework that our modern minds can actually grapple with.
Yeah, and I think it's important to note we're acting as impartial guides here to a highly specific blueprint.
For sure.
Because what's so fascinating is this intersection where ancient mysticism starts to sound almost indistinguishable from modern physics and engineering.
It really does.
It's like we are looking at a literal technical manual for human potential.
Okay, so let's unpack this manual. Because if we're talking about a hidden atomic power, we have to start with the wiring that actually carries it, right?
Yeah, the infrastructure.
Yeah. And the text points directly to the meridand, which is the spine.
Mm-hmm.
And it maps the 33 vertebrae of the spine to 33 specific cosmic forces or deities, like the Adityas, the Rudras, the Vasus, Indra, Prajapati.
Yeah, it gets very specific.
It does. But the implication isn't just about, naming bones after gods. It's essentially stating that the human body is a one-to-one microcosm of the entire universe. Like the architecture of the cosmos is literally replicated in your backbone.
Which is just wild. The spine essentially becomes an ontological map.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
Well, in this ancient worldview, a deity isn't just a person in the sky. A deity represents a fundamental law of nature.
Right, okay.
So by embedding 33 universal laws into the 33 vertebrae, the text is telling you that your central nervous system is literally wired to interface with the fundamental mechanics of reality itself.
Wow. It definitely makes you look at your posture a bit differently, I'll say that.
Right. Sit up straight.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
So, okay, if the spine is this massive central electrical cable running up your back, the text mentions it contains 3 primary subtle channels, or nadis.
Right.
You've got Ida, Pingala, and Sushumna. And looking at these 3, Ida and Pingala seem to represent these opposing polarities, kind of like the hot and neutral wires in my wall.
That's a really good way to think about it.
Yeah, because Ida is described as this cold lunar energy, and they compare it to the river Ganga.
Mm-hmm.
And then Pingala is the positive charge. It's hot solar energy compared to the river Yamuna.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it's really about the physics of generating a third force.
Okay.
Because when you bring a negative lunar current and a positive solar current together in a highly controlled environment, they don't just cancel each other out.
Right.
They create a spark. So when Ida and Pingala collide within this energetic spine, they generate an incredibly powerful central current called Sushumna.
Which the text compares to the invisible hidden river Saraswati, right?
Exactly.
And when all 3 of these meet, the text calls it a triveni, which is an internal confluence. And I can kind of visualize that, these 2 opposing currents crashing together to basically wake up this central channel.
Yeah, it's a very dynamic image.
But the Sushumna isn't just a hollow tube. The text describes finer and finer layers nested inside of it.
Right, it goes deeper.
Yeah, so inside Sushumna is Vajra, inside Vajra is Chitrani, and at the absolute core is the Brahmanadi.
Mm-hmm.
And the text uses the analogy of peeling back the layers of a banana tree trunk to find that soft essence in the middle. But like mechanically, it sounds far more like a modern fiber optic cable to me.
Oh, a biological fiber optic cable is the perfect modern equivalent.
Right.
Because you have these thick, protective outer sheaths shielding this microscopic, ultra-sensitive glass thread right in the center. And the Brahmanadi is that innermost thread of your spiritual wiring. The text is saying it's the most vital conduit in the human body because it's literally the only one capable of carrying the absolute highest frequency of energy without just, burning out the system.
Wow. Okay, so if we have this heavily shielded ultra-high frequency wire running up the spine,
Right.
we have to see where that data is actually going.
Exactly.
And this is where it gets really interesting. This central Brahmanadi wire travels all the way up into the center of the brain, and it splits into thousands of branches.
Hmm.
It forms the Sahasrara Kamal, the thousand-petaled lotus. And the text does not mince words here. It explicitly compares this biological structure to a radio receiver and an aerial transmitter.
Yeah, the brain is essentially being reclassified here.
How so?
Well, it's no longer just an organ that generates your daily thoughts or regulates your breathing. It is an advanced biological receiver tuned to cosmic frequencies.
That is so cool.
Right. The thousands of branches of the Brahmanadi act as the delicate filaments of this highly sensitive antenna, and they're catching signals from the subtle universe and downloading them directly into your physical awareness.
And what's crazy is that the visual clues for this have been hiding in plain sight in ancient art this whole time.
Absolutely.
Like the text connects this brain antenna to Lord Vishnu resting on the thousand-headed serpent, Sheshnag. Those thousand heads are a literal metaphor for this awakened Sahasrara structure.
Yeah.
Same with the tight spiral curls on the top of Lord Buddha's head and all those ancient statues. I always thought that was just a haircut. But they're basically a diagram of these highly active coiled energy nodes firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, the art is trying to communicate the biological reality of an awakened mind.
Right.
But the thing is, the Sahasrara isn't just passively catching signals like a radio. It actively alters the environment around it.
Okay, which actually brings up a metaphor in the text that I really struggled with.
Oh, the python.
Yes, the hungry python. The text claims that when a python takes a deep breath, it can effortlessly pull flying birds right out of the sky and into its mouth.
Yeah.
And leaving aside the actual biology of snakes for a second, how does a hungry python taking a breath relate to the mechanics of human consciousness? I mean, it feels so visceral and aggressive compared to the whole idea of a peaceful lotus flower.
I get that. It is a really startling image, but it speaks to the sheer force of this mechanism.
Okay.
The python's breath is a metaphor for an immense localized vacuum or a gravitational pull.
Ah, I see.
So when the Sahasrara is fully awakened, your consciousness is no longer passive. It becomes a spiritual gravitational well.
So it's actively dragging things into its orbit.
Yes, exactly. Just as the python's inhalation creates a physical vacuum that pulls in its prey, an awakened mind creates a localized magnetic field.
Wow.
It actively draws in universal powers, inspirations, latent energies from the subtle world, and just pulls them directly into your immediate reality. You essentially become a localized force of nature that bends circumstances around you.
But, I mean, an antenna generating a gravitational well of that magnitude would burn through an impossible amount of energy.
Oh, for sure.
It can't run on nothing, which means we have to trace that central fiber optic cable all the way back down from the brain to find the actual power source.
Right. We have to travel down to the absolute root of the system.
So down at the base of the spine, the text states the Brahmanadi wire is anchored to this black hexagonal atom, the Krishna Varna Shekam Paramanu. And it's metaphorically called Kurma, or the tortoise. And wrapped around this hexagonal base is the Kundalini energy, which is coiled 3.5 times, fast asleep with its mouth facing downward.
Yeah, and the tortoise is an ancient universal symbol of a foundational base.
Right, because it's so solid.
Exactly. It's the unshakable bedrock that supports the entire architecture of the nervous system above it. And that 3.5 coiled serpent is the dormant potential resting right on that bedrock.
And the text makes a really fascinating connection here to everyday cultural rituals.
Hey, the wedding connection.
Yes. It claims that the 3.5 coils of this dormant Kundalini are the direct origin of the traditional Hindu marriage ceremony, where the couple takes 3.5 rounds, the Mangalfiras, around a sacred fire. It's essentially biological mysticism hiding in plain sight at a wedding. Like, the macro ritual of joining two lives is just a reenactment of the micro reality of awakening this internal energy around a central fire.
Yeah, it really shows how deeply these spiritual mechanics permeated the culture. The knowledge was just encoded into daily life. But the text's most vital comparison for this sleeping serpent isn't a wedding ritual. It brings us back to that 1945 atomic bomb comparison.
Splitting the physical atom versus splitting the spiritual atom.
Exactly. The text argues that modern scientists achieve something terrifying when they unlock the destructive power hidden in physical matter.
Yeah.
But the ancient sages operated as spiritual atomic scientists. They directed their research entirely inward, focusing on this internal black hexagonal atom and the Kundalini coiled around it. And accessing and splitting the spiritual atom doesn't result in a bomb. It results in an explosion of constructive, organizing power that grants a human being absolute mastery over their internal and external reality.
Which brings up a massive question regarding the math here, because the text provides a metric for this power that frankly broke my brain a little bit.
The speed metric.
Yeah. To explain the sheer scale of it, the text actually references Western esoteric traditions, like the 19th century occultist Madame Blavatsky.
Right.
And she called it a universal electric fire, or serpent power, or spitfire. But then the text compares it to the speed of light. It sets a baseline, rounding the speed of light to roughly 100,000 miles per second.
Right.
And then claims that Kundalini energy travels at 342,000 miles per second.
Yeah, and this raises a really important question about how we interpret ancient data.
Well, yeah, because I really have to push back on this metric.
Go for it.
Like, how could an ancient Sanskrit text, or even a more recent esoteric commentary, possibly calculate a highly specific metric in miles per second?
Right.
Are we supposed to take this as literal physics, or is this like a modern translation trying to overlay a Western metric onto an ancient concept?
I mean, it's highly likely a translational bridge. The specific use of miles per second is just a localized way to communicate a concept that essentially breaks standard physics.
Okay, so it's not a radar gun.
No, exactly. The underlying ancient claim isn't about running a radar gun on spiritual energy. The claim is that this inner energy is fundamentally faster than light.
Wow.
It operates on a quantum level. In modern terms, we might compare it to quantum entanglement, where information transfers instantaneously across distances, completely bypassing the speed of light.
That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, the text is just using the fastest thing the modern mind can comprehend, light, and telling you that your internal spiritual mainframe operates on a completely different, superior tier of physics.
Okay, so if I have a spiritual atomic reactor inside me that operates on instantaneous quantum physics, why can't I use it?
Like, why am I struggling to find my car keys in the morning when I have faster than light energy coiled in my spine?
Right, the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
And this brings us to the architecture of the vault itself.
Okay.
The sources include a shot chakra diagram, which details the meditating human figure and the central channel. And the text explains that you can't access this power because nature deliberately installed a series of heavy-duty locks on the system.
The chakras.
Exactly.
Looking at the diagram, you can actually trace these locks from the bottom up. You have the vault itself at the base, the Muladhara chakra. Moving up, there's Swadhisthana, then Manipurak at the navel, which is symbolized by fire, Anahat at the heart, marked with a deer,
Right.
Vishuddhakya at the throat, shown with an elephant, then Agna, the third eye, all the way up to the Sahasrara, or Shunya.
And each of these chakras functions as a biological and spiritual security checkpoint. The text is very clear about this. Nature put these locks in place so that unauthorized, unprepared individuals could not access the raw power of the universe. I mean, I understand the safety mechanism. Handing the keys of a nuclear reactor to a toddler is obviously going to end in a meltdown.
Exactly.
But the word unauthorized implies an authority. So who does the authorizing? Is there like some spiritual bouncer sitting at the root chakra checking IDs?
That's a funny image, but no, the text frames it as a self-regulating mechanism.
Okay.
The authority is the structural integrity of your own nervous system and your psyche.
Interesting.
The locks require ethical purity, intense discipline, and the absolute removal of selfish desires. The energy won't rise. The vault literally won't open until the physical and psychological pathways are cleared of destructive habits.
Ah, I see.
So the bouncer is just the reality that a self-centered, chaotic mind literally cannot hold the frequency of this energy without shattering.
Wow. So what does this all mean for you, the listener? We reach the ultimate so what of this entire physiological map.
Right.
What actually happens when someone does the grueling work,
Right.
clears their psychological checkpoints, levels up their character, and is finally authorized to open the vault.
Well, the text shares the perspective of realized practitioners, and the resulting transformation is just sweeping.
Yeah.
By the grace of this awakened Kundalini energy, a person effortlessly gains mastery of complex arts and skills. Their physical body becomes incredibly resilient.
Right.
The text actually claims this grants them a healthy, vibrant life of 100 years.
Okay, living a perfectly healthy 100 years effortlessly just by unlocking internal energy sounds like a massive biological stretch to me. Are we talking about literal cellular regeneration here?
Well, the text implies a profound upgrade to both the hardware and the software.
Okay.
When the body's subtle energy channels are fully unobstructed, the physical organs operate at peak efficiency. They mitigate the stress and the decay caused by normal chaotic living.
That makes sense.
So whether it's exactly 100 years or just a metaphor for a full, unhindered human lifespan, the main point is the removal of internal friction.
The body just stops fighting itself.
Exactly. And mentally, the person becomes entirely fearless. They stop operating from a place of survival or anxiety. They dedicate their life to universal well-being, existing under what the text calls the umbrella of divine protection. They are plugged directly into that cosmic mainframe we discussed earlier.
See, the text frames the alternative as a sort of grand human tragedy.
It really does.
It points out that human beings literally possess a billionaire-level vault of unimaginable technology right inside their own bodies. Yet it says we live like weak, miserable insects, completely enslaved by petty everyday desires.
Yeah.
It's like walking around with a state-of-the-art supercomputer in your pocket, and the only thing you ever use it for is a paperweight to hold down your grocery list.
That is the core philosophical demand of the Gayatri Mahabhagyan.
Yeah.
It is not just an esoteric textbook. It highlights our inherent responsibility. We are not meant to live our entire lives on autopilot, just suffering through minor anxieties and purely physical concerns.
Right.
We have the architecture of the cosmos inside us. The tragedy isn't that the power is a myth. The tragedy is that we never bother to learn the combination to our own locks.
We just let the reactor sleep.
Exactly.
If we step back and look at the sheer scale of the journey this text has mapped out for us today, it fundamentally alters how you perceive yourself.
Absolutely.
I mean, we started with the physical wiring, right? The 33 vertebrae of your spine, acting as the literal seats for 33 cosmic forces.
Mm-hmm.
We explored the internal triveni, where the hot and cold polarities of your nervous system crash together to spark that central fiber optic cable.
And we followed that cable up into the brain, where the 1,000-petal lotus acts as a cosmic radio antenna, generating a gravitational pull massive enough to draw the subtle universe into your daily reality.
And then we traced it all the way back down to the root, finding that dormant spiritual atom.
The sleeping serpent.
Yeah, waiting to unleash a quantum-level energy faster than the speed of light. And all of it guarded by the sophisticated security system of the chakras.
If it really is something.
It makes you hyper-aware of your own body right now, just sitting in your chair, walking down the street.
It demands that awareness. And I think it leaves us with a critical question to consider based on this blueprint.
What's that?
If nature intentionally locked away this immense atomic-level internal power until you prove you are worthy and structurally sound enough to handle it, what small, everyday choices are you making right now that might be slowly turning the dial on those ancient locks?
Oh, wow.
Are your daily actions, your habits, your reactions to stress, are they actively clearing the pathway for authorization, or are they the very things keeping your own vault permanently shut?
That is a heavy, beautiful thought to walk away with. Because the password to that dormant atomic reactor inside you isn't some secret mystical word. It's the friction of how you choose to live today. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep questioning the depths of your own potential, and we will catch you on the next one.